this is my last fight on my contract too. I mean, in my eyes, the big promotions are UFC, One, Risen, PFL, and Bellator. I've expressed that I'm not like, don't treat me like one of these older guys and these 2 fights a year. Like, yeah, so they honored my deal. I never had a problem with nothing that's like taking less of anything like that. It's Gegard, right? For him, I don't really feel bad for it. I think that Gegard can go anywhere in the fucking world and make money. I know he'll be all right.
Well, you only got one fight left, so is that something you'd be looking at, like some boxing?
Oh, I would I would love, I started out boxing before MMA, I did amateur boxing. So yeah, that is a possibility too, if the opportunity came. Yeah, yeah, no, he's my boy, man. I'll always be there for Sean. Sean's the real one. At the same time, Sean was fucking young as hell, no fear in the world. You know what I mean? He was the top guy at his gym. So, well, yeah, when I went there, I was just working with him, and I guess he say he got the better of me. But yeah, shit got back to me, and I was just like, "Oh, this motherfucker." Yeah, I don't know, man. I've expressed multiple times that I want to fight at least 3 times a year.
All right, so today I'm joined by Lorenz, the Monsoon, Larkin. Welcome, man. How are you?
Good, man. Good.
Oh yeah, well, I'm doing great, man. I'm happy to have you on here, and congrats on your win. It was about 2 weeks ago, right? A little less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
First
yeah.
round knockout after 11 months out of the cage. Just to start it off, I guess, how you feeling coming off of that?
Feel good, man. I'm back in the gym, getting ready for my next one.
Right, that got announced yesterday, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. So, okay, let's talk about that then a little bit. You seen your opponent at all, or like done any like research or anything?
Um, a little bit. I was supposed to. That was my original opponent for my last fight,
Okay.
but he got injured, so I had a replacement, which was Allen. And then so now I guess it's rebooked now for September 7th. So in the beginning of camp, I got a little bit of a chance to look at him, and then we heard the news, and then that kind of just
Right.
went
So
away.
you kind of are familiar with him though, because you were
A
booked
little bit, a little bit.
previously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What is his style? Because I haven't done any research, I'll be honest. Is he like a kickboxer or
I think he's a striker. Kind of real heavy-handed. I think some good finishes, and yeah, he's a tough dude, and really good record. So it's good. Just the type of guy I want.
okay, well, I'll be looking forward to it. And then you're also in Pechanga, San Diego. You like that place, right?
Yeah. So yeah, they changed the name so many. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if I can cuss on here,
Yeah,
but
you're good. Say whatever you
oh,
want.
okay. Yeah, they changed the name so many fucking times for that arena. It's been called so many other different arena names, but I've I haven't actually I never fought there yet. I fought at Pechanga Casino. So that's the only different. It's not the casino. The casino's in Temecula, which
I
I
was
fought at.
thinking that.
Yeah. So this is it's literally just an arena, and it's called the Pechanga. I don't know if Pechanga bought it or something, but it's just an arena.
Okay, got you. So this isn't the one you've been asking to fight at, because I remember you were saying Temecula's your
Yeah, yeah,
backyard. Right.
yeah. So I wanted to fight at Pechanga Casino, which is in Temecula, but I guess they gave me the next best thing, the Pechanga Arena. It's bigger, so I guess.
Okay. And then I think another nuance of this fight, right? Kind of interesting to me at least, is your last fight was for PFL. And then they're kind of talking about maybe you can get into the playoffs or something like that. But it
Yeah.
seems like this one's for Bellator now. So I
Mhm.
guess Bellator still has a 170-pound division and all that.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I know in the beginning I heard that they were gonna run it for like 2 years and then kind of go from there and see, what they're gonna do. So they're still running shows.
Okay. And I guess what was the thoughts behind you not going into PFL for your next fight? Because like I said, they're talking like maybe you can get into the playoffs or something like that, right?
Yeah. Well, you said what was the
Like how
mindset
come
behind?
I guess
Oh,
how
go.
come you didn't end up in the playoffs? Because they had mentioned there was a chance.
I wasn't thinking nothing of the playoffs. And just even off of the last fight, like midway through camp, I found out that I couldn't even throw elbows. Which is like, I know it's getting redundant because I keep saying this shit, but it's like it was such like a like a wrench. Like it's weird, for the people that don't understand. It's like I've been doing, I've been able to use my tools my whole career, and then to go into something and being like, oh, you can't do that. It's really it was pretty hard, like it's weird because I didn't do it, but it's weird being in there and then restricting yourself to not doing something that you might see that's open. So it's, I don't know. It was a learning curve for sure.
Are you kind of saying that you're happy that you're fighting in Bellator's rule set now, like the regular MMA rule set?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I can, yeah.
Because I don't know, part of me thinks too when I'm kind of like listening to you talk a little bit. I think PFL, because you want to be active, right? So like PFL's got that nice system in that sense. So
Mhm.
how do you feel about PFL and Bellator? Like the differences between them? You like some things about both of the promotions right now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's no secret in Bellator, I wasn't active, and it's not on my behalf, So, I was only fighting 2 times a year for my whole contract, which is not my whole contract, but all my contracts. It's been like 6 years now. I don't know, 6 or 7 years. So of me fighting 2 times a year. So I, with the playoff, I don't. I'm still trying to wrap my head around like the whole points and all that. So
It's like an average of 4 fights a year if you win the whole thing, I guess.
okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I just need to. I need to sit down and really talk and see all the whole scheme of things. Like I get that the payout is X amount, but yeah, there's just a lot of things that I haven't really sat down and really tried to learn the whole ins and outs of PFL yet, because I'm I'm trying to figure that out, and then I also this is my last fight on my contract too, so there's a lot of things that are like going up. So I'm trying to just figure everything out right now.
Gotcha. You don't really have an opinion on PFL yet. You don't have enough knowledge at this point yet.
No, not yet.
Okay. And then you said this will be your last fight on your Bellator deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And well, okay, before we get into more of the juicy stuff, let's kind of preface some of the fans about like your mindset behind like the fight game and stuff like that, so that we can kind of like they know more about your decision making process. So
Uh-huh.
just so you don't have to say the whole story again, I was listening to some old interviews when you came over to Bellator, right? And something that really stood out to me, I think the main point was Bellator, when first off UFC offered you a contract and it was like take it, don't take it, we're good either way. And that kind of bothered you a little bit because you felt like you wanted somebody to like care about like you as a fighter, like we said earlier. But the thing Bellator did that seemed to really appeal to you is they wanted to sign you, and then they also wanted to make sure that your signing was announced in the Riverside Press or something like that. And you said that nuance like made you happy. So with that being said, or you want to say anything?
No, no, no. Yeah.
Okay, so with that being said, that's kind of who you are. Like you care about how the promotion treats you. And you were also saying like this isn't it can't always be one monopoly type thing, right? It can't always be one league and stuff like that for the fighters. So now you got like PFL and all this other stuff coming up. And then you kind of got in the mix of it. Like you were out for 11 months. I saw you being a little vocal about when you want to get a fight and stuff. So
Mhm.
I guess with all that said, right? Like, what do you think about the landscape right now and where you're at and everything?
Um, I think that I mean, it's weird now because it's just, I mean, now that you can kind of just say that one promotion is gone. So you can kind of say like Bellator is, in a sense, it's gone as far as a organization, because it's still under the umbrella of PFL, right? So that I just count those two as one. So I mean, for fighters, you want more organizations out there, right? Because once when it starts dwindling down, then there's no like let's say the word
Competition or something?
yeah, there's no competition, you know what I mean? So there's nothing to really levy, you know what I mean? There's just this or that. So for a fighter, you always want more promotions out there, right? And it just goes on, it just you have to know your worth, right? And if you don't know your worth and you just kind of go with the flow, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? And the promotions at the end of the day don't technically care about you. You know what I mean? You do for them and they'll do for you, and it's just kind of cut and dry like that. You know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys out there, and it's a small percentage of guys in each promotion that, do get super taken care of. But at the end of the day, you're as good as your last fight, right? And you can think everything is fucking, sweet and good and all that. And you can turn around the next day and literally find out from Twitter that you're cut. You know what I mean? So
roster report or something like that.
yeah, you know what I mean? So the shit is pretty, it's not all sweet. So that's the only thing, you just have to know that at the end of the day, you are your own, this is your business, right? I tell all the younger guys coming up, I'm like, you have to treat your whole career as this is your business. And however you run your business is however good that business is going to do. You run it like shit and you don't care about it, then guess what? Your business is going to fucking fail. And that's what it is. You're not going to make anything and you're going to be sitting doing something else, so you have to treat it like that. And then also by doing that, you have to think on both sides that's what I've always done. And I've always thought on both sides. I think a lot of fighters fucking they only think about the fighter side and sometimes they come up with unrealistic wants, you know what I mean? And the promotions are like, dude, what the fuck you know what I mean? You're asking for all this bullshit, but in order for me, I've always thought of it from both sides. Just so when I come with a number or something, it's a fair number. You know what I mean? I'm basing it off of what the guys that I'm around, the guys that I'm in the mix with. I'm not being like, oh, I want this fucking crazy number. It's just so it's realistic, and promotions can't be like, this fucking guy is asking for stupid shit. Anytime I'm asking for something that's normal, you know what I mean? So I think fighters need to do that too. They need to be realistic, and don't get me wrong, you can always overshoot a little bit, but don't make it to where it's just leaving a bad taste in people's mouth off of the shit that you're asking for.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like kind of what you're saying, right? You look at your field pool of competition and maybe some other fighters, just because they want to get that money, they'll try to draw crazy parallels. They'll be like, oh, I've been in the UFC for this amount of fights, like this guy who's been in there for a lot of fights, but this other guy's way more accomplished, but they want to get the same pay or something like that. Mm-hmm. So now that makes sense. You should get paid more so around that competition level you're at, kind of. That kind of makes sense to me, at least.
Sure.
Yeah. But with the PFL, right? Because it seemed like when you were in Bellator, it worked out decent for you. I mean, you're saying that you fought twice a year and maybe that was not that much. Like you wanted to fight more. But other than that, it seems like it was pretty decent for you. And then I'm just kind of curious with the PFL switch and stuff like that. How have you kind of felt about that as far as are you, because there's one more fight left in your contract, right? So are you looking to kind of levy with PFL and play ball with them too? Or what are you thinking?
I'm open, hopefully, we my management and me figure out some things in the weeks to come, and if we work out something cool, I'm open. I'm not I'm closed-minded to PFL. So, I would love to sit down and figure out some things. Yeah, and see where it goes.
And I guess you probably don't want to express too much excitement because you're going to be negotiating, but I was almost thinking that the rule set with PFL you might have been really excited about, but are you kind of you evenly appreciate all the organizations? There's not one that you would even be leaning towards in a certain sense?
No, I mean I've got to fight. Well, I've fought in Bellator, I've fought in UFC, and I haven't fought in Risen, but I fought on on a co-promoted show with, you know, Bellator and Risen. So I mean, I'm familiar with all the organizations out there, and you know, I think they're all doing good. You know, there's not one that I'm like, eh. As far as I mean, in my eyes, the big promotions are UFC, One, Risen, PFL, and Bellator, right? I mean, unless there's something else out there that I don't know, but those are the big ones to me. So, I mean, they're all doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they all are are doing the right things. You know, so I'm not opposed to anything, and you know, if I can stay under the PFL card and things work out, cool. You know, but we'll see.
Got you. And because you post a lot of stuff on your story, so it's not like I could just go back and like find all of it. But what were some of the issues with getting your fight and like the layoff and stuff like that? Can you speak, not to make you badmouth anybody, right? But just because a lot of people, it's a big talking point. Like you get a lot of rumors and stuff like that where they're saying like, just to throw it out there, like Gegard got signed to a new deal by Bellator before the acquisition that PFL didn't agree to and stuff. And then you hear that PFL was also asking Gegard to take like less money. That might have been a part of that story. But just to clear things up a little bit, what were you going through in that?
Just the same thing, man. No, well, not the same thing as that, but I'm just saying, like, my same thing is just asking for fights, and I'm not going to even say that it was because of the whole transition, because I've been asking for it
before that.
Yeah, before that, but this didn't help. You know, I think that it was just like a real shitstorm with everything that was happening, and trying to, I think on their part, trying to find the venues and figuring. I mean, that I could see when all the switch happened why, you know, like I couldn't get 3 fights. That I understood, but or even to even figure out, because I've been trying to get a fight since like I've been trying to get a date since like February. So I just think that it's just a big shit show, you know, with the whole transition and combining both or PFL, you know, bringing in Bellator and finding out all their inner workings and all that type of stuff. So I get that, but before I never understood. I don't know. I've always expressed that I wanted to fight more. You know what I mean? I get it with some of these older fighters. Fuck. Now I gotta say I'm an older fighter, but some of these older guys, dude, that maybe they don't want to fight like that. You know what I mean? So
they were thinking you were one of them or something like that.
Maybe, but then I've expressed that I'm not, like, don't treat me like one of these older guys and these 2 fights a year. Like low key, I like sometimes there's been more times and haven't been times where, because like when I'm not training or shit like that, I don't know if you know, I just disassociate myself from like MMA and all that shit. So there's many times where I literally forget like what the fuck I do for a living. You know what I mean? Because it's like usually they'll have me fight earlier in the year and then later on in the year. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's such a big gap that I'm just like, and I'm doing my everyday shit that I just forget. I'm like, damn, I fucking fight. Like it's weird, man. But yeah, I don't know, man. I've expressed multiple times that I want to fight at least 3 times a year. 3 times a year is fine with me, but 2 times it's just like,
right. And just to kind of put some of the things to rest too, like, because I even messaged you, and I don't think maybe you answered the question, I'm not sure, but you responded to one of my things I asked you. But it's not like PFL is asking you to take less money, right? Before you accepted that fight, they just honored your deal and stuff.
Yeah, so they honored my deal. I never had a problem with nothing that's like taking less of anything like that.
Yeah.
But also I didn't have no new deal right before the acquisition. So I don't know. I can't speak on that. But as far as me, like there's nothing, no talks of ever like lowering my pay or anything like that.
Okay. So maybe with Gegard, that was like a one-time thing, because I see a narrative is out there a little bit of like, now that PFL can't pay Bellator's top fighters, they can't honor those contracts. but maybe it was just that one-off in that sense. That's why I wanted to ask you, because you're one
Yeah.
of their top fighters, if they're able to honor your contract or anything
Yeah.
like that.
I don't know. He might have some crazy fucking. Maybe they did some crazy shit for him. I don't know.
Yeah. This is probably the only one I'll ask you about somebody else. Well, actually, I'll ask you about Sean Strickland later. But with Gegard, did you have any thoughts about that at all? Like, how do you feel about that? I guess for Gegard's career, like, because you're a fighter, you're probably looking out for other fighters. Like, how did you feel seeing that happen to him in a way? And what do you think should happen next for him?
I mean, for him, man, it's like at the end of the day, it's Gegard, right? And it's like I don't like for him, I don't really feel bad for it. You know what I mean? Like I think that Gegard can go anywhere in the fucking world and make money and get signed by somebody. I think he can go over the one and have and get a great contract. I think he can go over the Risen and get a great contract. You know what I mean? I don't know what his relationship is with the UFC or whatever, but he's one of those guys that like I can't feel bad for. I feel like he can go anywhere and make money and good money. You know what I mean? Good money at that. So yeah, I think I don't think I know he'll be all right. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah, he's a big name. He's a legend in the game. So
yeah.
Hopefully someone picks up. One sounds probably like the best one for them. But they always say that one's bankrupt and shit like that. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I heard stories, but I'm like, fuck, they're on like Prime and I mean Amazon. I don't know, unless there's some inner workings, because I can literally watch a whole fight card and not be bored, man. Like they have really good fights, so I don't know.
Yeah, they got something good with the jiu-jitsu and the boxing and Muay Thai, like all mixed in and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, UFC's got to maybe take a page out of their book with that one, because you see like Nate Diaz and Masvidal boxing now. It's like I feel like UFC missed out on that. Like if they could find a way to do that, like how one does it, they could make that money instead.
Man, I was at that fight, man.
Who'd you think won that one?
I don't know. I mean, it was. I think just from a whole perspective, like it was exciting for me to watch that those two guys sold out that place. Like it was fucking. I'm not sure if the video that like watching it showed, but it was fucking packed in that place. Like it was crazy. But it was just good to see those two guys, and they were the main event. And now the co-main. Get the fuck out of here, bro. What am I doing? Somebody fucking call me out for some boxing, dude. God.
Yeah, right. You fight Daniel Jacobs?
No. Sorry. Not the co-main. Daniel Jacobs is the OG. That was Pettis and the other guy.
Who was his name? Chris Avila.
Avila.
Nate's guy. You didn't like that fight too much. That was a little boring.
Fuck on, bro. Call me out.
Yeah.
Both of them. Fuck, dude. Like, God.
Well, you only got one fight left, so is that something you'd be looking at, like some boxing?
Oh, I would love for fucking dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are you have you considered that? Like aside from me just mentioning it, have you considered that, like being at that event, knowing you got one fight left? Like, does that cross your mind at all?
Yeah, a little bit, man. Well, I started out boxing before MMA. I did amateur boxing, so and then that's what got me into MMA, is being that like my size and how big I was. 'Cause I was fighting a heavyweight, so in amateur. So I was just like, I can't
Knocked
fucking
out Walt Harris. I gotta say it. I'm just gonna drop that in there.
Oh, that was MMA though. That wasn't boxing.
But that wasn't boxing. Okay. Yeah.
But I was just too short and too big to really know that I can compete, and being pro in boxing. So I stopped. But yeah, I would dude. I would love it. Yeah, that is a possibility too, if the opportunity came.
Okay. Honestly, man, you're a legend. I think you already know that, but definitely like a lot of fans have respect on your name. So if your name's on one of those cards or something like that, they could definitely use you. You know what I mean?
I would love it. I would
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. And just I think we might end up wrapping it up with this because I think we're short on time now. But this is like a little topic we'll take some time on. I was actually gonna like make like a little doc on Sean Strickland
Okay.
when he was like the champ, right? But then
Uh-huh.
he ended up losing the belt, and I was like it took a long time because he's got a lot to his career. But you're a
Yeah.
big part of his career, and I don't think a lot of people know that. But he's definitely credited you and all that a lot of times. I kind of want to tell the story a little bit about like how you guys got started because I think it's interesting. You guys sparred at Sequence Jiu-Jitsu or something like that. That's where you guys first met.
Uh-huh.
And then Sean tells the infamous story, like he got the better of you there. He started talking about it, and then you had to get your get back on him there, and you like invited him to Millennia, and just like pieced him up, and like he had to pull over on the drive home and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to start it off, right? Like Sean, he's your boy and stuff like that. From your guys' experience.
Yeah. No, he's my boy, man. I'll always be there for Sean. Sean's a real one. But yeah. So this is the thing. Like, this is what like my coach kind of tells me. If I go to somebody's gym and I spar them, it's just like I'm not an asshole. You know what I mean? So I'm just working. I'm not like trying to like beat you up. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm just working. And so it's that same thing. But at the same time, Sean was fucking young as hell, no fear in the world. You know what I mean? He was the top guy at this gym, and so when I went there, I was just working with him, and yeah, I guess he say he got the better of me, but yeah, shit got back to me, and I was just like, oh, this motherfucker, like I wasn't even going hard with this bitch. So then, yeah, he came over, but then he ended up parting ways with his gym, coming down to Millennia, and fuck, man, it was fucking murderer's row, the guys that we had in here at that time, so he's gone through the fucking gauntlet, man. And that's it's refreshing to see, because a lot of these younger guys are kind of pussies when it comes to like sparring and just like the whole mindset about fighting. So for him, because obviously I'm older than him, but to see him go through that shit, and a lot of the times guys fucking quit over some of the sparring sessions that he's gone through, and he just gone through that fucking fire, and now it's engraved in him. You know what I mean? So, he's my boy though.
Yeah. It's sick that he gave you your flowers after he became champ. Did you appreciate that?
Nah, yeah, man. He's always been, a stand-up dude, It just the funny thing was he used to be with my management, and back in the day. So I got him over to my management, when and then they got him his first fight in the UFC. And I still remember this day. I told my manager, I was like, look, I got this guy, man. He's fucking tough. He's gonna be good. But this is the only thing. If he makes it to a certain point where people pay attention to his fucking what he says, it's gonna be a PR problem. And then they're just like, yeah, they just kind of laugh the shit off. I was like, I'm telling you, he's gonna post shit that's like really off the wall shit, So I'm just letting you know now, like, that's gonna be the problem. Nothing else. He's a fucking hermit. He doesn't go out and drink and none of that shit. But what he posts can get him in fucking trouble. So I'm just letting you guys know. And then lo and behold, now I look at all his posts. I'm like, I told these mother, he's not with them no more. But it's just funny because back then it was just the shit that he was saying in the gym. I'm like, dude, you cannot say that shit online, bro. But now he has a little fucking Strickland army, dude. They love that shit.
Yeah. Especially with the way the world has changed. He must have been ahead of his time. Because like everything he must have been saying like 10 years ago sounded a lot crazier. But nowadays it's like, damn, he might be on point with a couple of things.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then so one other thing about like your guys' relationship, he says that like he got to learn how to fight basically from you. Like he says his whole fighting style is from you, like, which is pretty cool to see. He gives you all that credit, but you also take very little damage. I listened to another interview you did, and you brought it up. Like, I don't really take too much damage. You never really see me with a really beat up face after a fight. And of course, Strickland is notorious. Like, he never takes damage. So what's the secret for you guys? Like what is this thing? Like, it must be your secret.
No, it's just, well, I mean, obviously evading fucking punches, right? But I think it's just when you bring the fight to somebody, they're either gonna jump in the fire with you, or it's gonna be, how that sound. I was thinking in my head, like, that sounds so fucking corny. I was like, they're gonna either have to jump in the fire or get out of the fire. But I think it's just one of those things where River. Sorry, my daughter.
That's okay.
It's an interview, Cal.
Your daughter and
Jeez. River, outside. Okay, go ahead. Here. Sorry, man.
No, that's good.
No, but I think it's just when you really bring it to a guy, if they're not sparring or training like that, with that high intensity, and you keep that, not so much high intensity, you keep that same level. You know what I mean? I think a lot of guys do this. Like, they bring it up and then they slow it down, and then they bring it up and slow it down. And throughout the fight, that's how they kind of maintain their gas tank, right? But you can just, it's always here. You know what I mean? I don't think you have to go here, 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 and do all this. As long as you're here, these guys are trying to keep it up with you. And then once they start dropping, it just gets worse and worse and worse, And I think that's with Sean, that's, that people might talk shit and be like, oh, his form and how the fuck he stands straight up and all the other shit that they say. It's like, but his pace is a steady pace. And if you get a click below that pace, you're fucked, because it's gonna keep that pace. That pace is not gonna slow down. So I think a lot of guys, they have burst. They tend to fight and burst and burst and burst. But when they fight against Sean, it's gonna be a straight pace. It's not gonna slow down. It might speed up at the end, but he keeps that pace, and it doesn't drop, and guys tend to fold over it. You know what I mean? They always try to keep up in the beginning, but they can't hold it,
Yeah. You kind of saw that play out pretty well with Costa, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And Costa's a perfect example. He's calm, then boom, big burst. Then he's calm, big burst,
But okay, let's give it a devil's advocate, because I'm actually curious about your thought on this one. They kind of say, though, with Strickland and Du Plessis, his style might have actually played against him in that one, because Du Plessis came out like a head or something like that. I forget what they're kind of saying, but I think that's what they are saying. Like, Sean usually is like a slow starter, but he'll win the final rounds.
Yeah.
So how do you think he's gonna get the job done against like Du Plessis if he were to like run it back with him? You think he's got to like maintain the same style he came with, or you think he's got to switch it up? Anything in your mind on that?
This is the thing, man, and I fucking say it all the time. Like, it frustrates me, Like, I've literally been on the phone and been like, dude, why don't you fucking wrestle? Or people have no idea what Sean's ground is like. And if I can fucking swear on everything, if you talk to anybody who has rolled with Sean, any fucking pro that has rolled with Sean, they will tell you he is a fucking beast on the ground. His ground, it's non-existent because he just strikes, you know what I mean? But it is fucking ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. I literally hope you talk to somebody who has rolled with him.
Okay.
And then
So
they will
tell me a story.
They will tell legit.
Okay. So he should use his wrestling in his next fight?
I think he should have used it in a lot of his fucking fights, man. I think if he was to get on top of any of these guys, it would open everybody's eyes to a whole nother fucking aspect of his game.
Yeah.
That he just does not fucking use.
Interesting. Okay, I think this will be the last one I have for you then, just to wrap up this topic, is I guess two things off of that is you have like a really like well-versed kicking game. And since you and Sean came up together, just kind of curious about that one. Like, is he good at kicking because of you as well? And he doesn't use that, or has he never really been a kicker?
Nah, he's never really been a fucking kicker.
Okay.
He's like, yeah.
But yeah, you got a nasty kicking game. I saw what you did with like Neil Magny back in the day, with those crazy teeps and shit like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love kicking. I mean, kicks are a big part of my game, and they're a good weapon, especially in this game, you know. But yeah, Sean's not a kicker.
Okay, gotcha. For sure, man. You got any final thing up to your fans or anything like that who've been supporting you all this time? Any final message to them?
Shit, man, just appreciate it, and I always see it, and I think that my core fans, I'm real close with. You know, I feel like, you know, I'm always talking to them, and it's crazy too, because it's like somebody will write me and then I reply and they're like, oh shit, like you replied. So I'm like, these fucking fighters out here, dude, stop being fucking movie stars and reply to your fans, dude. Talk to your fans. These are the guys that, you know, that support you and buying all you guys' dumbass shirts, you know. So fucking talk to these guys, man, and stop acting like fucking prima donnas.
Yeah. I can attest to that. I say, like, even before I started this page, like, just one story. Darren Till, like, I sent him a message, something, and then he DM'd me back. And ever since, you know, I just got love for him because he did that for me. It's something like fans don't ever forget. So that's a fact for sure.
It's not fucking hard either, man. You know,
right. All right. And then let me just tell fans about your fight real quick so that they can look out for it. You're going to be fighting Levan Chokheli, Bellator Champions Series on September 7th.
Yes.
So I think San Diego, Pechanga Arena. So there's 3 fights booked for that card right now. So it should be filling up over the next week or so.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, bro. Well, thank you for the time. It was nice meeting you and all that. And I'll for sure be looking out. Actually, I live in California, so maybe I'll come out for San Diego and maybe we can link up or something like that.
Oh yeah, man.
For sure. All right, bro. Have a good one. Thank you, Lorenz.
Take care.
Later.